Welcome to Beyond the Chutes is presented by Parasite Systems. Mike Fletcher, the 1983 International Professional Rodeo Association Saddle Bronc riding champion, always has great stories and opinions about rodeo. A couple of weeks ago, we had a short BTC episode that aired with Mike Fletcher talking about riding the great J. Bronc Nightmare. In the process, we have created another type of episode for BTC that are called Short Goes. Now, Short Goes are short stories and memories that we want to be about the length of your daily commute. Our episode titles will include the words Short Goes, making them easier for you to find on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or any other major podcast streaming platforms. In this Short Go episode, Mike talks about Team Rodeo. He definitely has memories and opinions that he shares with us. We hope that you enjoy. So, Mike, while we have you on the phone, the Kid Rockin' Rodeo is coming up in May, and it's a team event. So all your timed events, it's heads up and a brand new concept, it sounds like. Is that true?
No, it's not true, Doug. Bill Polis invented Team Rodeo way back there in the late 70s and early 80s. I played in the first rodeo game there ever was. It was held at Denver. And I'm trying to think. I was a Tulsa Twisters, maybe the Dallas Stars, or maybe Las Vegas. I forget now. But there was a team, and a lot. Roy Cooper, several, Butch Myers, several of the PRCA Cowboys came to that because it paid so good. And I remember back in them days, nobody had sued the PRCA for right to work, and they fined all them guys for going to that because they were scared to death of it. It was such a cool concept, and it took to me, and I'm just going to be hateful if I can, but timed events are sometimes boring to rough stock riders anyway. Right. And it took the timed events, and they were heads up. They came out of the chute at the same time using drag race lights instead of there was a barrier up, but they had to leave on the lights, ready or not. And you saw who won right there in front of your face. And I don't know how they'll do their points, but if you had a heads up match, say me and Sam are in the bareback riding, Sam's 82 and I'm 74. Sam gets 2 points. I get 1 point for a qualified ride. Had I gotten bucked off, I'd get no points, and Sam would get 2 points.
I see.
At the end of the game, bonus points are given, and his 78 winds up being the high, or 82 or whatever I said a while ago, winds up being the high score. He gets another bonus point. And so these matches, these rodeo games, if you would, came down to the final bull rider staying on every time, just like them three-pointer at the horn going off at a basketball game.
Okay.
And it was so exciting. We had cheerleaders. It was great.
They were that close. They were that close all the way through.
Nearly every game.
Okay.
Nearly every game would come down to the last bull rider. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so you had your teams. So Tulsa Twister, there was Vegas, there was all these. Then did you have a year-end championship?
Yeah, that aspect of it, I don't, seemed like the Twisters might have won the first year-end deal, but it was just more just like another game. You know what I mean? It wasn't, they didn't make that big a deal out of the year-end deal on that, back as I recall anyway.
And did you have a sense of team when you rode on these? I mean, were you cheering?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, heck yeah. The Bulldoggers and the Cab Rovers would be down there trying to help us pull our riggings and everything else, man. There was all of a sudden we got interested in who won the calf open. Okay. See what I mean? The girls ran simultaneously as they will at Kid Rock's deal.
Yeah.
They set 5 barrels up in the arena and they run together, and it's a horse race. You see who wins right in front of your face.
Okay. Then there's a fastest bonus point or a highest ride bonus point at the end. Okay.
Exactly. Four flats, a fast run in the bulldogging. At the end of the game, he gets an extra bonus point.
Nice.
And see that all of a sudden you think one team's way ahead of the other, and those bonus points start adding up, and then it equals it back up a lot of times.
I see. And all the events, all the competitors ran in their event at the same time, meaning first two go, then the next two go, etc. So
obviously you couldn't do it in the Bronc riding.
Yeah.
So we rode one guy riding the next guy.
Okay.
And then that was a match between two people every time. And then of course all the timed events that you literally saw who won because they did it together simultaneously.
Yeah.
And we all thought it'd be dangerous, but it wasn't. It wasn't. It worked good.
It worked good. Okay. Team uniform?
Definitely. We wore, we had Twister chaps. We wore Twister scarves. And, of course, we had a jersey with our name and our number on it.
Very nice. You got any pictures from that time, Mike?
And don't forget cheerleaders. We had cheerleaders.
The most important part.
I think they work somewhere else at night, if you get my drift. But
right.
They
see.
were beautiful.
Okay.
They were beautiful. Having some patented dance moves, I might add.
You got any pictures, Mike, of the team?
Those cheerleaders kept grabbing the bucket chutes and trying to hang from them. I don't know what that was all about.
I understand.
Force to have it.
I understand. Yep. Well, I get it. You got any pictures, team uniforms, Twister chap pictures, cheerleader pictures, all
sure.
that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
All right.
I was a radical, Doug. I wouldn't wear their chaps. I wore my own chaps.
Are you serious? Was that allowed?
And there's a picture that Tom Woodridge puts out of a bunch of us guys from Pontiac one time, and Benny Jordan was on the Twisters, and Benny he kept his. He wore his everywhere.
Oh, he did. So even out on the road. Okay.
He wore them in rodeos. He wore them everywhere. Yeah.
So how'd you make your money in this team? Did you get paid to show up?
Well, yeah. I'm glad you asked that. Darlene and I, because she could run barrels and I worked two events, and I could team rope too. When they needed me, they let me rope.
I see.
And we got $2,500 a game. And this is in 1980, and you can Google that.
Oh my goodness!
And so at that point in time, I quit going to PRCA rodeos, and I went and did that. And then I could go back to IRA rodeos, and that's when I won the all around in the Bronc riding in IRA in 1980.
Two events, $2,500 per day. That's big money at that time.
Oh, honey, it was beautiful.
Yeah. And how many events did you do? How many different teamed events were there?
Those events, they were, I want to say, Sam may remember this better, I think there were probably 8 or 10 of those, kind of like, all in one a week for 6 or 8 weeks like that. And then sometimes we'd do 2 games in a week, and there were 2 teams that play sort of like almost like a double header in baseball. And sometimes 2 different teams would play one Friday and one Saturday. And then your home team played both of them. But I want to say about 8 or 10 events is what I kind of think in that many weeks. And they were all at the fairgrounds at Tulsa there in that pavilion they have there. And it's set up really good for rodeo, Something they did there that I've always been a proponent of is you didn't have to spur your horse out. And there was the first few games they did, and they saw that was a problem because rodeo judges get that wrong a lot. Mm-hmm. And there's a picture that came out on Facebook a while back of Bob Wilfong. He had gotten the judge had got him at the gate the night before, and he's looking at him hollering, "Is that good enough for you, Bill?" As he's spurring his horse out, leaving the chute. But they took the spur out, and there was a lot of really old, soured out old Broncs that were really bad in the chute. And that by getting the lead there without being disqualified for spurring them out, that made those old Broncs better because they saw they could do whatever they want. We was going to nod our heads,
I see. Take them wherever
whatever I was all about it because it's been misused throughout rodeo. At least when I was riding, and I see it now, and they're a little better at it now. Admittedly, they are a little better at seeing that now than they used to be.
Yeah.
but that was their way. If they didn't need you to win, it was all over right there before you ever even made your ride. You know.
Exactly. So Mike, are you a proponent of getting rid of the markout rule?
I am.
You are.
I am.
Okay.
It's to your benefit to leave there where you're feeding that horse's neck, but there's times when they really boil out of there and go around the post. You cannot help that reflex to try to protect yourself.
Yeah.
It cost Lefty Holman the world 2 years ago at the NFR.
Yeah.
Because that horse appeared when he reared to leave that chute. And he rolled out of there, and Lefty had to think he took a foot off.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't get him spurred out, and literally that no score that day cost him the world championship.
Wow. Okay.
Tom Reeves, there was a picture in the Western Horseman of all things of Tom Reeves spurring one out, and they got him at the gate. Now, ultimately, that same year, he did wind up compiling enough money won to be the world champion, but it could have cost him. It turned out, God fixed it. Mm-hmm. And another guy got bucked off that was still in the average, and Tom maintained his spot in the average, and he still won the world, but it could have got him. And they got a picture of him. The horse's front feet are on the ground, and Tommy Reeves has got him spurred out.
Okay.
Yet when that horse hit the ground, Tom's feet dropped, and when he dropped, they got him. Okay. It used to be a deal. You got to hold them 2 jumps. Yep. Well, the rule book says 1.
Right.
So, but to hold them, you see guys, they hold them 2. That way the judge doesn't have any idea that you even nearly about missed him out. But some horses are incredibly hard to spur out.
Okay.
You can spur him out, you can get him spurred out, but then you can't ride him. You got to pick one. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
If you get him spurred out, you're going to be in such a shape that second jump, and he's probably fixing to buck you off.
Okay. Makes sense.
That's just my opinion. That's from doing it for a living for 30 years.
Absolutely, and that's why we get you on the phone, because while it's a bit controversial, it
is very controversial.
Yep.
But why penalize somebody for something that's helping him to start with?
One thing I'd like to add to that I never thought of till recently, if them horses are sour or squatting in there, you can take them. It's much more safer for the contestant to get out of there than sit in there, try to get them right to mark them out.
Exactly. I remember one year when Donnie was in the rodeo business, the 8-time rodeo company, I had a horse called Wampus Cat at Crossett, Arkansas. And Wampus Cat, you had to put new swell covers on when he got through with your saddle in that chute. And I got on him and got him, just wrestled my way in there and got sit down, and he lays down, and Ron Canasta was judging, and he walks up there and said, "Kid, if you can get out, you ain't got to worry about spurring him out." I said, "Get out of the way."
Yeah.
Out.
Yeah.
And I won the go round on him, won the silver dollars and the whole 9 yards. And that was why. In other words, we'd wrestle with him. And what you do, they'll fool around and wash out on you, and it won't buck good.
Right.
After you wrestle them around that chute so long. I nodded my head, stood up and left. I still spurred him out, but I just needed to know they wasn't going to get me if I couldn't,
You bet.
And
You bet.
won around.
One other question about the teams, and I'm glad we got here because I like this discussion around the markout rule. With the teams, were there team owners? Did you have a general manager?
Yeah.
And coaches?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. That was my demise in the rodeo team deal. They put me being coach, and I was not a good coach.
Really?
I didn't want to do it. They just made me do it. I didn't want to do it. And so
what were the responsibilities of being a team coach?
Set up the matches. And see, you didn't draw the horses. You gave your best. You thought the guy that could ride that horse the best or that bull the best got him. In other words, we issued the Broncs, and do it like that. And naturally, being the coach and riding too, who do you think wanted the best Bronc? I ain't gonna lie to you. I did.
Sure.
What did they say? Put the ball in my hands, and I'll win this game for you.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
Yeah, and I wanted to say that to somebody and not be him. It got to a bad spot.
Yeah. So back to the whole general team concept. Not the first time this rodeo's been held, or this type of rodeo.
No. This ain't new. And like I say, I'm probably when we hang up, because you prompted me to do it, I'm gonna call old Polis. He's that guy that after rodeo we never see him at any of the reunions. He never comes around where any of us are. He thinks because that thing came apart, it was so great, and we were all so invested in it.
Yeah.
That he thought when that thing, what happened? He had a guy that was out there in California, a big movie producer guy.
Yeah.
And that guy loved it, and he was just dumping money into it. Well, he had a heart attack and died.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so Polis had to go and get investors that really couldn't stand to lose the kind of money it took to get that thing up and running. And so that's why it was short-lived at that time. Boy, you can bet your butt Kid Rock's got enough to make it work.
No doubt.
And the stage
doubt.
that they're going on, the stage is.
And it will work.
Yes, it will.
You see, rodeo, these super series, how they do the big rodeos now, I think is an excellent concept. I wish they'd put a little more dough in the front part of that, because so many guys, you might get on 3 or 4 Broncs and never win $1,000.
Yeah.
Where there's plenty of money to let everybody get some, but they like that on Sunday when it's over. They like it to pay 25 grand, 50 grand, whatever, and that takes away from all them poor people that tried to get there Sunday and didn't get it done, but made good rides, and it didn't really pay them very.
The Kid Rockin' Rodeo is going to pay $500,000 to the winning team. 500 grand.
That's my old Uncle Andy used to say. That's a lot of cat food right there, brother.
And Mike, I don't know if you know, my father-in-law was in Getty up pretty high working for them, and they called me about being on the Tulsa Twisters because I think he had some pull and talked to some people. But when we got off, I only worked one event. I said I can team rope, but I can't team rope with those guys. So I eventually didn't go out there, but they took this concept, and we started talking, and I thought, oh, I forgot about the Tulsa Twisters and all that. But George Rundquist took it and went and did some buildings in Pittsburgh, Philadelphia.
Well, yeah, if you remember, what was it, the deal that that kid from Florida wound up winning that? It was kind of like that. He won a ranch or something. And wasn't that kind of a team deal, too, that George did?
You had to work all 3 rough stock events there, I think.
Right. What Team Rodeo did for it was, see, rodeo up until how they do the bigger rodeos now, and it's still that way at the medium size and the small rodeos, the guys in the timed events, they win that rodeo in the slack most of the time. Of course, the ones that have a comeback Sunday for the short go, that's good, and you get to see them again. But you'll have a guy, and in other words, toward the latter performances, everybody's missing because they know they got to be 8 flat and the calf roping to place. See?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And this showcases the cowboy, doesn't it? Yeah.
Showcasing the Cowboys. See, that world champion that should have been in those performances, he was in that slack because that's where they win all the darn money. You get to watch all the cattle sometimes 2 and 3 times before you run yours, and you don't need to show them guys what they got because they'll show you how to
take advantage of it. Now,
to me, there was always, like in the riding events, it's not that way because we had to ride during the performance period. There is no slack anymore. They used to be, which was ridiculous, but they used to be. And in other words, that buckle comes with responsibility. And the people that buy tickets need to see the world champion calf roper. He don't need to rope in the slack Wednesday morning, and you don't see him again. He's gone somewhere else. And I'm just funny like that.
Well, and it really is what made the PBR what it is. I remember when the PBR got formed. We're going to have our bull riders here all weekend long. You can count on them being here. The media can count on them being here. And back in the day, Billy Ettbauer, Robert Ettbauer, all them guys going down the road, to your point, they're going to be there just enough to get their round covered, and off they go to 2 more rodeos.
Exactly. And then what were they going to say to the camera anyway? Shucks, ma'am. Them guys are real cowboys. They are definitely not all hat and no cattle.
No,
they don't
right.
want to talk about it. They'll show you.
That's right.
I got a question for you, Mike. Have you been to any of the PBR team events?
I haven't gotten to. No.
I'll tell you what, when you sit and go watch them live, them people get into it. I mean, they are excited, jumping up and down, taking their shirts off. You know, it is wild when their team is on the.
Exactly, and that's what Team Rodeo does. Is you got your guys and you see them every week. There was police that make us take a rope and dummy in our Bronc saddles and stuff and go to schools during the week. We gave every kid in the school a ticket, but it was contingent that he brought his mommy or daddy or both with him to the rodeo, and they had to buy one. But we'd fill the stand. He was smart. The stands were full, regardless of whether or not the tickets were all paid for. You understand? But it looked better, and they televised those things back then. But I don't remember if they ever actually came on. But there was when that camera flashed up through the stands, there was butts in those seats, you know.
And did you get a sense of Tulsa Twisters? Did you have a fan following?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. We were kids then and wild as deer. And there was a place called the Crystal Pistol in Tulsa, and that was our kind of hangout. My friend Richard Johnson helped started me out rodeoing to start with. His girlfriend either owned it, I think she owned it, or worked there anyway. And so and those people, it was great. It was great. They gave us sort of celebrity status, like the kids are enjoying now with rodeo. It's that same celebrity status. In other words, people recognize you on the street and want to talk to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, of course, like I say, at that time in our lives, we didn't exactly know how to deal with that, but we were friendly people, and so we did our thing.
We hope that you enjoyed this Short Go BTC episode with Mike Fletcher. If you want Mike's opinion on anything rodeo, please let us know and we'll ask him. Make sure to tune in to the Kid Rock's Rockin' Rodeo on May 17th and see Team Rodeo in action. We thank Mike for sharing another great story with us. Please share it with your friends. Let's get this story out into the world. To make your listening easier, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Search for Beyond the Chutes and follow us. Like us, rate us, give us comments. Let us hear from you. You can also find us on Facebook, Beyond the Chutes Facebook page, and click and follow. Leave your comments there. Let us know what you're thinking. We hope that you are enjoying our reels. Thank you to Tom Woodrich, also known as Tom Woods, for all the great pictures and memories. Thank you to Parasite System for their support with our podcast. You can find them at parasitesystems.com. They are a push-button parasitic diagnostic system for pasture animals, your large animals, horses, cattle, goats, sheep, and chickens, and now for your companion animals, your dogs and your cats. And we have a coupon code that you can use, BTC023, to get 50% off your mail-in kits. And you can find them at parasitesystems.com. Until next time, this is Doug Simcox. Thank you for listening.